You have felt it your entire life, a subtle fracture between you and the world around you. You walk into a room and you see the game everyone is playing. You see the desperate hunger for validation, the loud posturing, the terror of silence. They call it socializing. You call it noise. For years, you thought something was wrong with you. You asked yourself, why can't I just care about the things they care about? Why does this constant need for approval feel so heavy? So, you tried to fix it. You put on the mask. You mimicked their excitement. You laughed at jokes that weren't funny. You joined the hierarchy. But at the end of the day, when you closed your door and the mask came off, you didn't feel connection. You felt exhausted. Here is the truth that society and even your own biology tries to hide from you. That exhaustion is not a defect. It is a signal. You are not suffering from loneliness. You are suffering from the friction of forcing a square peg into a round hole. You are trying to squeeze a sovereign mind into a herd mentality. By the end of this video, we are going to kill the internet's caricature of the Sigma male, the cringe-worthy memes, and the grind set. We are going deeper. We are going to look at the psychology of the outsider archetype. I'm going to show you why your ability to walk alone is the single greatest evolutionary advantage you possess in the modern world. And I will give you the 3 psychological keys to turn that isolation into power. Welcome to the path of the sovereign. To understand why you walk alone, you must first understand why everyone else walks together. Human beings are, biologically, herd animals. For 200,000 years, being exiled from the tribe meant death. If the group turned left and you turned right, a predator ate you. So, evolution installed a fail-safe in your brain, the conformity bias. When you disagree with the group, your brain releases cortisol, the stress hormone. It physically hurts to stand alone. This is why most people would rather be wrong with the crowd than right by themselves. But we are no longer on the savannah. We are in a digital panopticon. The modern tribe is not a survival mechanism. It is a validation loop. Look at the alpha archetype society worships. The loud leader, the center of attention. He sits at the top of the hierarchy. Yes? Wrong? The man at the top of the hierarchy is just as enslaved as the man at the bottom. He is a slave to the maintenance of his position. He needs the eyes of the crowd to exist. If the crowd looks away, his status evaporates. He is trapped in the hierarchy of ghosts. This is where the Sigma concept, stripped of the internet fluff, enters reality. In Jungian Psychology, this is the tension between the persona, the mask we wear for society, and the self, who we truly are. Most people become their persona. They forget there is anyone behind the mask. If you're watching this, your problem is that your persona doesn't stick. It keeps sliding off. You see the social hierarchy for what it is, a game of make-believe. You walk alone not because you hate people, but because you refuse to perform for them. You value autonomy over approval. But here is the danger. If you reject the tribe, but you don't have a strong internal foundation, you don't become a Sigma. You become a nihilist. You become bitter. You sit in your room and judge the world for being shallow. That is not power. That is just sulking. The true archetype we are discussing is the autotelic personality. This is a psychological term for a person who finds their purpose internally. They are self-contained. Their engine runs on its own fuel. The reason you feel stuck right now is that you have the desire for this independence, but you are still judging yourself by the standards of the herd. You are a lion trying to win a sheep's popularity contest. It is time to change the scorecard. Let's look at history. The walker of the path alone is a recurring pattern in human excellence. Friedrich Nietzsche wrote his greatest works while hiking alone in the Swiss Alps. Miyamoto Musashi, the greatest swordsman who ever lived, abandoned society to live in a cave and perfect his style. Even religious history focuses on the withdrawal. Christ in the desert, Buddha under the Bodhi tree. Why? Is this just coincidence? No. It is neurology. Your brain has a network called the default mode network. This is active when you are thinking about others, social status, the past, and the future. It is the social brain. When this network is hyperactive, you are anxious. You are constantly simulating what others think of you. To enter a state of flow, the state of high performance, deep insight, and creative genius, that network must quiet down. You cannot achieve deep thought while constantly scanning the environment for social cues. You cannot hear your own intuition when the noise of the tribe is screaming in your ear. The Sigma mindset is effectively a prioritization of the task-positive network over the social network. Most people are terrified of this silence. Pascal famously said, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." Why are they terrified? Because when the noise stops, they have to face themselves. They have to face their shadow. Carl Jung taught that the shadow contains all the parts of us we repress. In the herd, you can project your shadow onto others. You can gossip, you can blame, you can join the mob. But when you walk alone, there is no one else to blame. You are forced to integrate your shadow. You have to accept your own darkness, your own failures, and your own ambition. This is the dark night of the soul that many of you are feeling. You feel isolated because you are undergoing a metamorphosis that the crowd cannot understand. The crowd calls you antisocial or weird because you are breaking the mirror neuron reflection. When you don't mirror their anxiety, it makes them self-conscious. Your silence holds a mirror up to their noise, and they hate you for it. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This is the price of entry. To walk alone is to accept that you will be misunderstood. If you require understanding, you are back in the cage. So, how do we move from the pain of isolation to the power of solitude? How do you stop being a lonely outcast and become a sovereign individual? Philosophy without action is just intellectual entertainment. You need a protocol. You need to rewire your relationship with society. Here are the 3 rules to integrate the sovereign mindset. Rule number 1, the validation detox. You're likely addicted to explaining yourself. When you make a decision, do you feel the urge to tell people why? To justify your new diet, your career change, your lifestyle? That is the herd instinct begging for permission. For the next 7 days, practice the law of silence. When you make a choice, do not explain it unless strictly necessary for logistics. If someone asks, "Why are you doing that?" you simply say, "It's what works for me right now." Do not offer the paragraph of justification. Watch the tension rise in your chest. That tension is the cord of attachment snapping. Let it snap. The sovereign mind never asks for permission to exist. He simply exists. Rule number 2, intentional disappearance. You cannot find your own frequency while constantly tuning into others. You need a Faraday cage for your mind. Schedule a period of strategic isolation. This isn't about sitting in your room playing video games. That is escapism, not isolation. This is 4 hours a week or 1 weekend a month, where you disconnect from all inputs, no phone. No music with lyrics, no podcasts, no friends. You write, you train, or you stare at a wall. In this vacuum, your original thoughts will return. You will remember who you were before the world told you who to be. If you are bored, good. Boredom is the waiting room for epiphany. Rule number 3, the internal scorecard. Warren Buffett talks about the difference between an outer scorecard and an inner scorecard. The outer scorecard is, am I richer, better looking, or more popular than my neighbor? The inner scorecard is, did I do what I said I was going to do? Create a sovereign standard. Write down 3 non-negotiable standards for your life that have nothing to do with public praise. Examples: I do not miss workouts. I tell the truth even when it costs me. I read 1 book a week. When you fulfill these, you reward yourself. When you fail, you punish yourself. The opinion of the crowd becomes irrelevant because their math is different from yours. You cannot be insulted by someone who doesn't know the rules of the game you are playing. When you apply these 3 rules, you stop being lonely. Loneliness is the poverty of self. Solitude is the richness of self. You become a fortress. When you commit to this path, something strange will happen. People will start to be drawn to you. It is a paradox. The more you stop chasing their validation, the more they will chase yours. They will sense that you are anchored in something real. In a world of drifting ghosts, you have become a solid object. But by then, it won't matter. You won't use their attention to fill a void, because the void is gone. You will realize that the sigma isn't a rank on an internet hierarchy. It isn't about being better than the alpha or the beta. It is about stepping off the pyramid entirely. It is about the freedom to walk your own path, at your own pace, guided by your own stars. You are not lost. You are just early, and the one who walks alone walks fastest. If you are ready to build that internal fortress, make sure you are subscribed. We are building a legion of the sovereign.